Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I am Jagmeet. In this video, we'll talk about Optimizely Graph. So before talking about Optimizely Graph, let's talk about what is headless and how Optimizely or the GraphQL came into picture. This video is in continuation with my previous video where I talked about what are content types and how to create content types in Optimizely SaaS CMS. So in this video, I'll talk about how we can see the content types and data inside of Optimizely Graph. So let's get started. All right, let's start with how things worked before GraphQL. Traditional CMS platforms were monolithic. Templates, contents, and the renderings all were so tightly coupled. So if you want to create a simple website, that is fine. But the moment do you want the same content in mobile app, smartwatch, or in any other platform, so the things got messy. Developers usually spend times like to create the custom APIs to fetch that content and to use in the other platform. But that effort came with few big headaches, like performance issues, multiple endpoints to maintain. Dev time is spent more on like maintaining those APIs. Sometimes front ends got too much data and sometimes not enough data. Basically, it worked, but it wasn't pretty. This is where headless CMS started to gain popularity. The idea was simple. You manage your content at one place and do not link it to any front end. Instead, you expose it as a raw data and your website, mobile app, smart fridge, or whatsoever you are building can consume it. This was the huge step forward, but this raised a new question. How do we fetch exactly the data that we need without juggling between the different REST APIs? And that's where GraphQL comes in. So instead of making 3 REST API calls, you can just write a GraphQL query. It's like saying, hey, I want a title, description, and image. And that's exactly what you get back. REST APIs are like going to the buffet and being forced to take everything, even though you just wanted a fries. With GraphQL, you just get the fries. For devs, that means cleaner code, better performance, a less boilerplate code, and happier front ends. Now let's talk about Optimizely Graph. Optimizely Graph is a headless content delivery API that lets you query and search your content that you have already created in the CMS. It also has a search and filtering capabilities. Optimizely Graph helps you do the content search. So you have a search capability on your site, you can do the content search with Optimizely Graph or the GraphQL. It is faster than the Elasticsearch that we use on the website. And then you can do the content delivery with the help of GraphQL queries and using the Optimizely Graph. For example, you want to create some dynamic component on the website, say some list. So you can use this. And for the headless content delivery, this is very useful. Say in headless system, we have CMS and the front end separate from each other. So any content that is created in CMS will be available in Optimizely Graph. So you can query through the GraphQL queries or the fragments and get your data and then present or show in the front end app. So this is very useful in various ways. Now let's see how it works. I am on the Optimizely SaaS CMS. So under the settings, you will find this Optimizely graph. So if you click on this, you will be able to see a window like this where you can run your GraphQL queries and fetch the data. So here we have several options. For example, refetching the GraphQL schema, then open the shortkeys dialog. So there are shortkeys to run here in the graph Optimizely graph. Then the settings you want to persist the headers, you can change the theme, clear the storage, etc. And while running the query, you have several options like formatting the query, then copying the query, then merge fragments into query. So fragment is a kind of concept in GraphQL. So if you have some reusable queries that you do not want to rewrite it every time, so you can create the fragments and use it in different ways throughout the website. Then if you want to on the cache and then you want to store the query. So this option tells you whether you want to use the new deployment or not. So if you see in the bottom, we have variables, we have headers, You can write the headers here or the variables here in this box. Then in the flags option, you have the option to use the stored template. So what are stored templates? So any query you are running inside of the Optimizely graph, you can use that as a template for your upcoming queries. So this will make your running the query faster. So you do not have to write it all the time again. Then you have an option for show GraphQL Explorer. So what does the class GraphQL Explorer does? So say you do not know how to write the GraphQL queries, so you can make use of this option. So it will list down all the content types that we have created or that are already present in Optimizely. For example, we recently created a hero banner block. So we can just open that block. If I click on this, so every time I'm clicking here, the query got generated inside of it. When you see the error, it is expecting some field inside of it that you want to show here. So say I went to a hero banner block. I want to select the items. Then from the items, I want to show the full text, say. So if I run this query, so we have just created the content type, but there are no items that we have created out of like from this content type. It is showing empty. So when we are running any query here, so the history got saved inside of the history. You can go into your previous query and check and rerun it. Then we have a documentation option. So this will list down all the GraphQL schema that are available in the Optimizely graph. Say, let me open the first one, underscore component. So underscore component, this is a kind of schema that implements iData, which is having I content, I component. And it lists down its fields that it is having. If you want to see the depreciated fields, then you can just click on this and see all. So now let me run one more query to give you more insight about the Optimizely graph. So let me go into the history. And all the queries that we run here will start with a keyword query. And then we will add a name like we add in the functions. And then inside a function, we mention which content type or the schema that we are trying to fetch. Inside of it, we will mention items and their fields. Underscore content is a base of all the content types that we are having in Optimizely. So if I run this query, so this will list down all the items that are present in Optimizely graph. Let me show you the overview of the schemas and the content types that are available in Optimizely graph out of the box. And what we are inheriting when we are creating some content types, say. The base of all the content types and the schema inside of Optimizely is underscore content. Underscore page, media, folder, component are all inheriting content internally. And then experience is inheriting page, image and video are inheriting media, section, component. Okay. Say I want to create some component that we have just created, like hero banner block. So that will lie somewhere here in that like teaser block. So when I created the hero banner block, so it is internally inheriting underscore component, and that is internally inheriting underscore content. So this underscore content is the base of all the content types that we are creating inside of Optimizely. So the type of fields that it is having inside of this will be available to all the blocks or the elements that we create. Similarly, if I want to create a news page. So when I create a news page, I am internally inheriting underscore page, and that is internally inheriting ultimately underscore content. So these base types are also already having some of the fields that we can utilize in our child components or the pages. So when I was querying underscore content here, so I was listing down all the pages, components, whatsoever it is having inside of the system, like CMS. So if I, instead of content, if I want to query, say component and run it. So this will list down just the components like blocks, elements, etc. It will exclude the pages or the media from it. If I say pages, so it will list down all the pages that I am having inside of the Optimizely CMS. These are the base tags that you can use in the query if you want to see all the pages, all the media, or all the components. If you have such a requirement, then you can just query using this. Otherwise, you have the specific component types inside of this Explorer that you can utilize. That's it for today's video. So in this video, we get to know that how we can query and fetch the data that we have created inside of the Optimizely CMS. In the next video, I'll show how we can utilize this data that we have fetched using GraphQL inside of our front-end app. It can be mobile, it can be desktop, anything. If you like this video, please hit the like button. And if you are interested in more videos like this, please subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.